Most people pass this road without ever giving it a second thought. They drive by, they walk past. They never imagine that something fragile could be waiting just beyond the grass. But early one quiet morning, while the world moved on as usual, four small lives stood at the edge of everything. The countryside road looked calm, almost peaceful. The sky was just beginning to brighten, and a soft breeze moved through the grass. Cars passed by now and then, their sound fading quickly into the distance. Hidden near the roadside stood a young mother cat. Her body was still, but her eyes never stopped moving. She listened to every sound. She watched every shadow. Beside her, three tiny kittens pressed close together. They were so small they could barely lift their heads. They didn't know where they were, they didn't know what danger was, they only knew warmth, and the comfort of being close. A car rushed past, shaking the ground beneath them. The mother cat flinched and pulled her kittens closer, curling her body around them. Her back arched, her muscles tightened. She didn't have many choices. The road was too close, the grass was too thin. All she could do was protect them the only way she knew how. Time felt heavy in the air. Every second mattered. Every passing vehicle brought fear with it. Then, from a distance, someone appeared. An elderly man walked slowly along the roadside. A wooden cane supported each careful step. His blue sweater was faded, worn by years of use, and a thin scarf rested loosely around his neck. He wasn't in a hurry. He had learned long ago that rushing often meant missing what mattered. As he walked, his eyes scanned the ground ahead. And then he noticed something that didn't belong. He stopped. There in the grass, he saw the mother cat, and then the kittens. In that moment, everything became clear. He understood the danger instantly. He understood how little time there was. The mother cat noticed him too. Her body stiffened, her ears flattened slightly. Fear filled her eyes. The man didn't move closer, he didn't speak. He didn't reach out instead. He slowly lowered himself to the ground, carefully, quietly, with open hands resting where they could be seen. Because sometimes, kindness begins by showing that you mean no harm. Behind them, cars continued to pass. Fast, unforgiving, the man glanced toward the road, then back at the kittens. He knew the danger wasn't just fear, it was time. So he did something simple. He placed his walking stick near the edge of the road, not to block it, just enough to catch a driver's eye. And slowly, almost without notice, the traffic began to slow. Then he reached up and removed his scarf. It was old, thin, worn by many winters. He placed it gently on the ground near the kittens, not touching them, not forcing anything, just offering warmth. The kittens shifted slightly, drawn toward it without understanding why. The mother cat watched closely, every muscle ready to react. But something felt different. The man stayed still, patient, calm. A faint smile crossed his face, not because he expected success, but because hope had finally appeared. Slowly, he reached toward one of the kittens. The mother cat didn't run. She stayed where she was. Trust, even in its smallest form, had begun. The man lifted the kitten carefully, his hands steady and gentle, hands that had worked hard all their life, hands that had learned when to be soft. He placed the kitten into a small cardboard box nearby, safe, warm. Protected, one by one, he moved the remaining kittens, each movement slow. Each moment filled with quiet tension. The mother cat followed closely, watching every step, choosing trust again and again. When the last kitten was safe, the man stepped back. He gave her space. He gave her a choice. And she chose. She climbed into the box with her bobbies, curling her body around them. Silence returned. The man let out a slow breath. A quiet victory that no one else would ever see. He carefully lifted the box and turned away from the road. Each step carried responsibility. Behind them, danger faded into the distance. They reached a small, quiet place away from the road, a place where sound moved slower, where fear didn't follow so closely. The box was placed gently on the ground. The mother cat curled around her kittens once more, this time not in fear but in safety. The kittens slept, their tiny bodies rising and falling softly. Unaware of how close they had come to losing everything, the old man stood at a distance, watching quietly. He didn't wait for thanks, he didn't expect recognition, because kindness doesn't look for reward, it simply shows up. And then steps away. As he turned to leave, the mother cat watched him go. Somehow she understood. The trees moved gently in the wind. The road stood empty again. The world continued, just as it always does. But something had changed. 4 lives were still here, still breathing. Still together, not because of strength, not because of luck, but because someone chose to stop. In a world that moves too fast, kindness whispers, it doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention, it waits for someone willing to notice. Sometimes the smallest moments leave the deepest marks, and sometimes saving as simple as choosing to care. Kindness costs nothing, but it can mean everything.